This is Bill from DM Protect. I'm talking today about how thieves steal domain names. There are several ways a theft can happen and way a thief can steal a domain name. Some of these techniques are quite obvious, while others are not. They're more difficult to identify sometimes, even for us who are pros at recovering stolen domain names. A domain name's whois record contains information that allows the thief to steal the domain. For example, the email address on the whois record has an email address. Maybe that domain name has expired. The domain name of the email address on the whois record for another domain name has expired. The thief buys the expired domain name, reestablishes the email address that was listed on the whois record, and is able to actually gain access to the account at the domain name registrar for the other domain. In that case, they may log into the account, change the contact information on the whois record to their own, and then steal the domain name. Sometimes that actually may happen with several domain names if they find that there are several different domain names associated with that particular email address. The other way thieves steal domain names are that they gain access to the account of the domain name registrar where it is. There's a few ways they do that. It can involve domain hacking, or essentially hacking into the account. It could involve social engineering with the customer support staff at the registrar. But it could also mean that somebody from the same company gets access to the account and then changes that to their then steals the domain. They may have access. I've seen family members get access to a domain name and then transfer the domain name to themselves and so forth, and steal the domain name. There are more and more ways that domain theft can be accomplished. For security reasons, I'm not going to totally elaborate here. However, in all cases, if a domain name is truly stolen from its rightful owner, it's almost always recoverable. Recovery process may take time. It's typically done if there's a transfer from one domain registrar to another. There's an ICANN-managed process called TURF, which is which only occurs from one registrar between registrars from one to the other, and that's how they dispute domain transfers. The urgent step here, though, is to be done first is to secure a registrar intervention and temporarily lock a domain. If you have any indication that the domain name may be stolen, contact the registrar immediately and ask for them to lock the stolen domain so it may not be transferred while you and them investigate the issue. This is typically done by contacting a member of the executive team that's harboring the stolen domain and alerting them to the theft. Although there are hundreds of registrars, the industry leadership is small enough whereby a timely phone call can actually save the day. The essential point here is that when a domain theft does occur, the quicker it is identified, the quicker it can be recovered and returned to the rightful owner. Once the stolen domain has been resold, retransferred, and sent again to either a new owner and auctioned off, and the process becomes much more complicated because we have to unwind multiple links in that whole chain of title of that domain name. So why do thieves steal domain names? Why do domain names get stolen? Domain names are attached to websites, but domain names actually have value. And some have sold for thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands, even millions of dollars. Thieves steal, usually they steal domain names because they're able to resell it to an unsuspecting person or even an organization, often at a steep discount of the fair value of the name. since time is of the since time is usually of the essence, they're trying to steal the domain and get it sold and transferred to somebody else, and so they can benefit from the sale of the domain. In the most cases that we've seen, the domain name is stolen because a thief wants to sell it quickly. They want to sell it back to the current owner. In some cases, domain name or domain names, are stolen not really mainly for the purpose of monetary gain, but sometimes just out of reasons of outright sabotage. The unauthorized transfer of a name to a new registrant could tie up a domain for even weeks or months if the new registrant forces a legal process in order to recover the stolen domain. A little bit about domain recovery. You need to look and see if your domain name has been stolen. If it has been stolen, what should you do? First, we recommend reading and looking at the various scenarios that we have on our website in the stolen domain and domain name theft sections, but also considering the different scenarios that I've mentioned here. Of all the times that we're contacted about this, domain names, about 10% of them are actually truly stolen. There's some kind of other issue going on. If indeed your domain name has been stolen, someone has gained access to your registrar account and transferred it out, check to see if you still have access to that domain at your domain name registrar. You may have some questions. You may have purchased the domain name from a reseller and not necessarily a domain name registrar, and where it's registered currently. If you have no access to the account, try the forgot passwords option at that registrar to see if you can gain access. Look at the who is to see where the domain name is registered right now. See if it's still registered. See if you recognize the registrar and if where it is currently. If the domain has been transferred to another registrar without your permission, contact your registrar and talk to them about what happened and note all of the details on the call, who you talk to and when you talk to and so forth. Okay. If it is stolen, then file a report of the theft with your local authorities. We need some kind of documentation. If we need to legally file something later on, and there needs to be a legal case filed and litigation, we need to have documentation and of the date and time, and essentially file a police report with the local authorities and document it. That will help later on for us in order to recover it. If it appears that the domain name has in fact been stolen, then contact us at DM Protect, file the police report as well, and we will then start investigating and help recover the domain. We cannot stress enough. I cannot stress enough that time is of the essence here. When a domain is stolen, it's got to be reported and acted upon, hopefully within hours and not days. There is a limited time when a domain name is transferred. There's a certain number of days, I believe it's 4 to 5 days or so, but there's a certain amount of time where to dispute that domain transfer. It can be done, but it's more difficult. The sooner that you can report the theft, the sooner you can contact us, the easier it is for us to recover. Domain name thieves can be relentless in their attempts to hide their involvement. And a domain name can be stolen, transferred to another registrar, sold to another buyer, sold again, and then again within even a matter of days. Again, if your domain is, DM Protect can help you recover your domain name if it's stolen. But keep in mind, that there are lots of various scenarios, and we need to, fully understand. And what I do recommend is documenting everything and following a police report, in notifying us that it's been stolen.